Okay, welcome back to the Sandy Hahn podcast, episode 4. I'm going to give you two options. First option is to butt chug a half gallon of curdled milk poured down the back of an offensive lineman after 2 days in August. So someone's going to pour that curdled milk down his sweaty ass spine, let it run through his sweaty ass butt cheeks into a pitcher, and you gotta fucking chug it. Okay? Enjoy that visual. And that's courtesy of Mark Lowry, Adam Walker, and Mark Creighton, 3 of my oldest and dearest friends that I grew up with. Love them. So, the second option, obviously, is to watch or listen to my podcast. So hopefully I've made that option much more alluring than the first one. Because if you like the first one, then you got a fucking problem and you need help. Go to a doctor. Don't listen, don't watch, get some help. So I'm excited for this podcast because again, it's helping me. It's so therapeutic, and I just can't wait to keep going. I'm walking better, talking better, sleeping a little better, and I'm even writing better. Just the notes from before the first podcast to now, I can actually read them. It's not like hieroglyphics or something. So that's pretty cool. And in addition to all that, I'm, working out every day with my trainer, Tanya. She's amazing. And meditating. Meditate 3-4 times a day. And it's amazing. I just leave this dimension. It's hard to describe, but I'm going to go into that a lot of detail in some additional episodes because I'm following a doctor that is just amazing. And went and saw him last December. Going to go see him again in April, and I'll get into some details of that because it's, in the last episode when I talked about holistic medicine, I kind of stopped doing it for a little bit, but I get back into it big time, and I cannot wait to take you on that ride. It's amazing. So, I think at the end of the last episode, I mentioned, Signs of Hope. Because there have been some. But I actually wanted to go back a few years because I thought about some other signs of hope and just some fun times I thought would be fun to share with. And, I mentioned too, it was like a fucking roller coaster because it has been, it continues to be that way. But, like a roller coaster, kind of like I'm hoping this podcast can be for you, certainly has been for me. When you first get in, you're excited, but you're not sure what to expect. And then you go up the incline. Again, you're excited, but not sure what to expect. And then you go over the top of the hill, and you just let's go. And it's thrilling, it's fun. But there are a lot of ups and downs, and so it's also terrifying at times. But in the end, you're glad you did it, and you want to do it again. So that's how it's been for me, and I hope it'll continue to be that way for you if you stick with me and enjoy the ride. So I wanted to mention we're going to be setting up social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, and under the Sandy Hahn podcast. And also going to do, since I know everyone's not on social media, I'm going to develop a website. Probably just going to be something simple, but it'll be a way for people to at least connect, questions, comments. Hopefully, I'd love to get feedback. I've already got a ton of feedback. But I also have an email, the Sandy Hahn podcast at gmail.com. So please, comments, questions, love to hear it. And again, I was talking about the feedback I've gotten. And it's so amazing how that makes me feel inside and as well as mentally. It's amazing when I've had 2 ladies that I haven't seen or spoke with since high school that reached out on Facebook, a messenger, and we started messaging, and then texting, and it was so awesome. It's just special to me that they reached out because it was helping them. And that helps me. And one of the ladies was Emily Lauterbach. I think her name's Emily Stewart, but that was her name in high school. Very sweet. And she actually had sent me a message about a comedian named Ali Wong, ALIWNG, who's a very pretty, very petite Asian woman who's pregnant. So when you see her first come out, you're like, okay. And then she opens her mouth and holy shit. Put your seatbelt on as you're going to go for a ride. Is she funny? I've watched all 3 episodes twice now with my wife and with my kids. Watch the movie. If you want to laugh, is she raunchy? Yeah, it's right up my alley. The first episode, it's better if you watch them as they came out. The first episode is called Baby Cobra. Unbelievable. And the second one, Hard Knock Wife, and there's a third one, and she just kills it. Absolutely kills it in all of them. And then a movie called Always Be My Maybe. Very funny. So, thank you for that, Emily. Another lady was Laura Cassiopo. Hope I didn't butcher that, Laura. In high school was Laura Marchese. And again, very nice. But, I didn't know her real well. But we've been messaging and texting, and it's just, she's amazing. And she's funny. So, can't wait to try and visit with her and her husband. she invited us down to there, some other mutual friends of ours. So I said, I would love to. They seem like fun people, and I like being around fun people. So, another really cool thing. My dear friend Tom McIntyre sent me a video. He knows I like a band called Sister Hazel, and one of my favorite songs is called Change Your Mind. Great song, always liked it. Took on a whole new meaning this past year. It talks about just getting out of your own way, and if you want to be somebody else, change your mind. It's powerful and very true. So that's what I've been doing. Another thing was got to text from Dr. Sam, who is the hot chiropractor that I mentioned in one of the first episodes. Very, very sweet and very good at what she does. So if anyone needs a chiropractor, you're going to want to visit her. And so I'm hoping, I told her I'd mention her name, hoping to get her some business. I think she's moving back to the west side, trying to get herself going. And so I can't recommend her highly enough. And we'll get some information, phone number, some sort of link on website, social media, all that stuff. Or you can send me an email and inquire about it, and I'll happily respond. So, the other thing I wanted to do is kind of go back a few years. I may have mentioned that before, but I'm going to do that now and talk about some other things that happened that were positive and were good. And I like to think about those times. And we'll go back into 2020 on the spring. And we got 2 new puppies, mini Shiba Doodles, just cute as can be. I'm going to try and maybe post some pictures to them and other funny pictures of all the stupid shit I've done. But so before we get to that, talk about we had 2 big sheepdogs prior to them. We love sheepdogs. We had Oliver and Olivia, 2 of the best dogs. And we had to put Oliver down at the end of 2019, which is heartbreaking. I say we, but of course it means me, because my wife couldn't do it, couldn't handle it, and I get it. It's not easy. But it was the right thing to do. He was old and he couldn't move. So we had to put him down, and then 4 months later, Olivia, who was not old, was younger, but had a lot of issues, and took her to the vet, and they said, we can fix few things, but she's still going to be really struggling, and we just couldn't do that. So we had to put her down, which was horrible. And that was a Monday morning, and we were at home. The kids were home because they were from college because of COVID, and they we told them about Olivia, having to put her down. And then they were devastated. We were all devastated. That was Monday morning. By Wednesday afternoon, we had 2 new puppies. So Monday morning, I had to tell them it's awful. By that night, my daughter, Isabel, was like, what do you think about, going to a shelter, trying to get a puppy? I said, all right. The next day, she's asking about it again. She's like, are you sure? Because Mom said you're the one who didn't want a puppy. And I go, I'll get one right now. And, we thought we were going to take a break, but couldn't do it. And so by Tuesday evening, she had found some on a website, a breeder down in Amish country, Holmes County, and for a mini Shiba Doodle, which is just so damn cute. And, Shiba Doodle, you think about it, the mother was a 75-pound sheepdog. The father was a 10-pound poodle. So, of course, I'm thinking, how the hell did that happen? They built some little doggy sex swing for the poodle. And, of course, they didn't. I'm sure it was insemination, but my mind thinks of weird shit. Funny stuff. I just think funny things. So, Isabel and I went down. Who were the last people in our family who should be looking at puppies? We're suckers. I certainly am. Went down to look at them and tried to take some videos to show my wife, and it didn't really go through because we were out in the middle of nowhere. So we looked at the puppies, and there were 2. If there were 6 or 7, I could have picked one. There were 2. Brother and sister, inseparable, just crazy, fun. And Isabel was holding them both, and she's like, why don't we get 2? And I was already there. Again, I'm a sucker. I was just like, oh boy. So I said, hey, can you give me a deal for 2? And they did. It wasn't a great deal, but I was already gone. They're coming home. So we got in the car with the 2 puppies in the back seat with Isabel. By the time we got to the highway, get reception again, and I called my wife and said, they don't take checks, so we're going to maybe try and come back tomorrow and take a look at them. Of course, I'd already bought them both. They were in the back seat of the car. And we got home, and then Isabel walked in the house holding 2 dogs, puppies, and Mary Beth just, looking at me like, why are there 2? Why are there 2? I just giggled, and I said, honey, I couldn't separate them. I couldn't just take one. So anyway, she loved them now. They love her, and they're just a lot of fun. So, all right, now we're going to go back. Oh, well, that was 2020. And one of the other things I did, went to Marco Island. And which is lovely. And the weather's good for me, especially in January, because I can't deal with snow and ice. And went down. My brother-in-law TR had rented a place in Marco, and I stayed the whole time. And he was working. I was not doing anything. So it was like Groundhog Day for me. Every day once I get up and get going, which usually wasn't until noon. Pack up a little cooler with 3 or 4 beers, a couple waters. I would take a gummy, go down to the pool, put my headphones on, put a big fat dip of Skol in, and just glaze out in the sun. And it was really relaxing. But I was struggling. It was not easy. But it was fun. And then the next month, some friends brought me down to Saddlebrook, near Tampa. And wow, was that fun. I'm going to share too many details of that, but I will share one day a trip that we went on a pontoon boat. And boy, do we have a good time. Just all afternoon jamming tunes, drinking beers, and beautiful day. And the captain of the boat, her name was BJ. She was a hoot. So if you're in Tampa, look her up. I think she even put some of her videos on her website because she enjoyed all of our shenanigans. And she was fun. So we got back from the boat trip. You know, everyone's still in t-shirt and surf shorts. And we get done with that trip, and she left her a pretty hefty tip. And she's like, you know, I don't usually do this, but I want to come hang with you guys. You're fun. And we're like, okay. So she had to go pull her boat in. So we went inside this bar and we're waiting, hanging out, having a drink, sitting on the dance floor, right near it. And I had to go to the bathroom, but I didn't feel like going to the bathroom, so I just pissed myself right there, and hardly hit my surf shorts, just went on the floor, and I thought it was funny. Again, I'm not well. But then we had fun. We went outside and sat on a round picnic table with BJ. And we were ripping shots, having drinks, just having a hoot. And laughing. And I laughed so hard, I fell off the picnic table on my back. And I think she and a few others were like, oh, God, it's okay. But two of my good buddies just laid down on the ground next to me and taking pictures. It's funny. A lot of fun. So they knew who they are, and I can't thank them enough for that, because that was a hoot. So then I go throughout the year. I had again, the summer was pretty good. It was golfing. Not great, but not bad. I even shot in the 80s a few times, which I know a lot of people would like to do and can't, but I used to shoot high 60s, low 70s a lot. That's pretty good, but not anymore. But it was just fun to be out again golfing. I didn't think I was ever going to do it again, but I did. And then I had to stop for a while because it was too difficult. But I even last month, well, I guess January, went out with my wife and my brother-in-law. They were golfing, and I tried to hit a few shots. I didn't think I could do it, and I did it. Not bad shots either. It's only a few, but that gives me hope that I can probably do this again. And then we went to Kiwa Island, which is beautiful, for TR's 50th birthday. Kelly rented a house. They brought a bunch of their friends and invited us to go. And it was just a riot. And then right after that, went to TR and Kelly's for Thanksgiving. And just amazing. They're just such nice people. She has beautiful kids. Good cook. Great spread. And the one thing I always tell people is her stuffing. Cornbread stuffing with chorizo and jalapenos. It's just amazing. Change your life. You should try that. And then, another story. I think I mentioned going to Cabo, but just I thought of something about that trip to Cabo. It was wonderful. Beautiful weather. And we went on a boat trip. Nice big boat. And we saw whales. We saw stingrays. It was just really cool. Sea lions. And then the first mate for the captain was a younger Mexican guy who was really cool. So nice. He was taking care of us. And so I've told you the story. I was in Mexico on a boat trip with a Mexican first mate, and he made homemade guacamole. Unbelievable. Best guacamole I've ever had in my life. In Mexico, made by Mexican. What just wonderful. Wonderful people. And I remember when he finished, he brought it up. It was just me and TR sitting in the back of the boat, and all the kids, ladies were up in the front because it was beautiful. I couldn't get there to climb to the back of the boat, right at the front of the boat. So I'm eating some of this guacamole, raffling through it, and TR has a few bites, and it's like, slow down. Because I'm like, look, I'm going to try and get a good amount now, because when those kids come down and see this, it's gone. And that happened. I remember him looking at me after they went through it like locusts. He was like, boy, you weren't kidding. I go, I know my kids. They like guac. So anyway, that was a fun story. And there's going to be a lot more stories on the podcast. Again, I could probably fill up at least one, if not two, of some funny stories of shit that I've done in my life. And again, that'll be coming up soon. But for now, going to finish off this podcast and looking forward to the next one. Tanya is coming in, and you're going to like her. She's amazing. She's funny. So looking forward to that. So that'll be the end of this one. Take care, everyone. Talk soon.